Here's a great Bible question. How different do I think Christian tradition would be if a belief in the Bible's univocality did not become commonplace? To believe that the Bible is a univocal text is to believe that it speaks with a single authoritative voice, that it agrees with itself everywhere, that it never contradicts, that it ultimately comes from a single source, usually identified as God. The belief in the Bible's univocality is quite common amongst sectors of the lay-level Christian population. It's especially prominent amongst conservative and evangelical Christians. I don't think the Bible is a univocal text. I think the Bible is a multivocal text written by many different people in many different times and places who hold different views on the same issue, views that stand in stark tension with one another and that frequently contradict each other outright. Historically, large parts of the Christian world ultimately decided to believe that the Bible is a monovocal text, and Christian tradition developed in that vein as a result. But what if it hadn't? What if instead it had developed a tradition based on a belief that the Bible is a multivocal text instead? What would that look like? I think it would look a little bit like Judaism looks. Judaism has, on the whole, I think, done a much better job of preserving the multivocality of the Hebrew Bible in its ongoing tradition. And I think the Talmud is a perfect example of this. The Talmud is a collection of diverse and sometimes outright contradictory commentary on previous commentaries and previous biblical texts. It does not seek to find a singular answer or a single authoritative way to interpret any given passage in the text, but rather is open to the possibility of single texts having multiple meanings, multiple instances of divine inspiration, multiple authoritative voices that can be used by different people in different times and different places to make the text meaningful to them. It is a multivocal tradition based on a multivocal text. There's a wonderful book by my former professor, Dr. and Rabbi Rachel Mikva, called Dangerous Religious Ideas, that talks about the way in which multivocal elements of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam can be used as resources for self-critical reflection on our respective faiths. And it's precisely because recognizing the Bible and our interpretations of the Bible are multivocal lends itself so well to self-critical reflections on our faith that I think Christian tradition on the whole ended up going with the belief that the Bible is a monovocal text instead. Self-critical reflections on faith are not good for empire. They're not good for concentrations of power. They're not good for hierarchy. And therefore, the multivocality of the Bible and our interpretations of the Bible are not good for empire and power and hierarchy either. And very early on in Christian history, Christianity decided to collaborate with power when the Roman Empire became Christian. When you are in a position of power and you're trying to exercise the power of a hierarchy over and against other people, you need a monovocal text with monovocal interpretations. You need set doctrines and dogmas that you can impose on other people. If you are trying to tell somebody you should do X, especially if X is dangerous to them, like go to war, conquer this people, give me all your money, give me your property, give me your lives, your bodies, your souls. If you're trying to exercise that kind of power over somebody with the use of your doctrine, and they respond, actually, there are many different ways that you can interpret that, that's not going to be very efficient. Right? You're going to get constant pushback because constant pushback is available to the people you're trying to exercise that power against. And so a monovocal text much more easily facilitates power than a multivocal text, which much more easily facilitates self-criticism within a faith tradition. This probably means that if Christianity had decided to embrace the multivocality of the Bible and embrace the multivocality of even the early Christian traditions that we see preserved in the New Testament, that it would be a minority religion today if it continued to exist at all.